right, everyone. Hope you're having a great day. And today, the topic today we will be talking about is Chunin exams power rankings. I'm doing this video after the fact of the one where I made Sasuke versus Neji, so it kind of goes further into explaining all the other rankings besides that. And this is just specifically for the arc, right? And we also have a special guest joining us. Shadow, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yo, what's going on, everyone? Shadow Taurus here, and thanks for having me on the channel.
Yep. Great pleasure to have you. Today we will both be doing two tier lists, right? So now I did say power rankings tuning exam. We will also be scaling the arc right after, which is Konoha Crush, which have similar versions to the characters, but only a few spots switch. So, we want to go over that too. So, you want to start us off with the first person on the list?
Yeah, I'd love to. So at number 6 and 7, because I think they're interchangeable, we've got Tamari and Shikamaru. Now, when it comes to Tamari and Shikamaru, they're interchangeable for a couple different reasons. The first major one is while Tamari is stronger than Shikamaru, in their fight, we very clearly see that Shikamaru is able to use intelligence to get the upper hand on her, and his physicality isn't even that bad. In the hospital before the Chunin exams, we see that Shikamaru is actually able to tank a hit from Naruto straight up. Naruto is able to hit Gaara, and we'll go into this more in Naruto's section, but Naruto is able to hit Gaara, and Shikamaru, who is connected to Gaara via shadow possession, is able to tank that hit and continue talking and just go on as if nothing happened, right? It's almost like it didn't even phase him. Now, does that mean that Shikamaru's durability can shrug off Naruto's hits? Probably not, but you get what I mean.
Yeah.
And with Tamari, obviously, even Shikamaru says yeah, I can't beat you, but that's also because Shikamaru's lazy and he probably didn't care enough, and we see when Shikamaru, when he actually cares about winning, he can beat people significantly stronger than him, like against Hidan.
Yeah.
So on. So that's number 7. Now number 5 is our boy Neji.
Now with Neji, I don't think there should really be a question why he's above Tamari and Shikamaru. He just performs better speed wise and all around. Although Tamari and Shikamaru are pretty relative, Neji definitely does get that spot. So right, but it really gets interesting where we find out who's in front of him, which is Naruto. If you want to elaborate more on that with me.
Yeah, no, Naruto's really strong here. Now a lot of people try to downplay Naruto and say, oh, Naruto caught him off guard when he hit him with that one single punch, as the guidebook state. And I'll concede, yeah, he caught him off guard. That's really cool. Yeah, but he's still one-shot Neji.
Yeah.
That's the biggest thing. This ain't Dragon Ball where if you're caught off guard, you're suppressed and your durability is lower. No, he just straight up caught him off guard. And even before that, the Chunin exam instructor even thought that Neji lost the fight straight up. And as I said before, we go into this, but Naruto was able to crack Gaara's sand armor with a single punch. This is a Naruto who had been recovering in the hospital, passed out for 3 whole days. He had been hospitalized for 3 days up to that point. And this Naruto, who's still probably fatigued, tired, went up and managed to crack Gaara's sand armor, in that state he was in. This is Naruto after he had managed to tame Gamabunta, right? So that's really impressive. And then above him, we've got Lee. Do you want to kind of go into why Lee should scale above Naruto and Neji here?
Yeah. All right. So in the first place, let's go right back to his Gaara fight where he used the gates. Now, Guy does kind of introduce the point that the gates are the key to beating Neji. Now, okay. In my thoughts, I personally do think that Neji does have relative speeds with weightless Lee and on so forth. I'd say about 3rd gate. When we get into 4th and 5th gate territory, we have my guy even saying things like this hyper speed technique, which is, I'm pretty sure, the hidden lotus or the extreme lotus. He uses this technique and he's like, oh, this is the key to defeating Neji. This is the fast high speed technique that would defeat Neji, is basically what he's saying. So just off of that, we can give that to lead and speed terms. And the fact that that's the key to defeating Neji. And Naruto on top of that, although he is above Neji, and speed wise he'd also of course be underneath Lee, because from feats wise and statements, that version of Lee is a quite a decent bit above Neji, which, I mean, I do have Naruto above Neji, but I don't think it's by a huge margin. So I just feel like Lee just has that spot over both of them.
Right, right. I 100% agree with you.
Yeah.
Just to piggyback off your point a little bit, I just want to let people know, you know, he's not saying that Neji's below base Lee because Neji is able to box with Lee and beats Lee on occasion.
Yeah.
But it's that Neji did not know about the gates, specifically like the third, fourth, or fifth gate, the hidden lotus. So Naruto and Neji should scale above like base Lee potentially. Naruto's a little more iffy, but you could argue Naruto.
Yeah.
At least in his Kurama chakra mode. But they don't scale above like fifth gate Lee.
Yeah.
That's the big thing.
Now, next spot, we do have Gaara, which is pretty self-explanatory. He is able to basically be able to beat Lee, right? Or kind of outsmart him in a way. And he also just has better overall scaling than Naruto and Neji. And Temari and Shikamaru for everybody on the list. In terms of the fact that his bloodlust is just enough to make Naruto and Shikamaru just duck under stairs to avoid him. And also, again, he beat the third strongest on the list. So it's kind of just reinforcing the idea that he's the second strongest. But the number one spot is where it gets incredibly interesting.
Yeah, so our number one spot is going to be Sasuke.
Yeah.
Now, here's the thing about Sasuke, right? Sasuke, a lot of people are like, oh, but why is he below Lee? Lee should be stronger than him.
Yeah.
And if we're talking like base Lee versus base Sasuke, no, obviously not. But once Lee gets into the gates, then it gets iffy. However, the guidebooks help give us some clarification on this. They state Sasuke is Gaara's strongest opponent. Now, a lot of people try to misconstrue this and say, oh, he is hitting Gaara stronger than even like fifth gate Lee because he's Lee was barely able to crack his sand armor, and Sasuke is able to crack his sand armor, so he's like on fifth gate Lee level. But that's not really consistent. We see base Sasuke actually probably has worse AP than base Lee because base Lee was able to crack the sand armor, but that's not why Sasuke tops the list. It's because of his Chidori. Like, his Chidori is able to pierce Gaara's strongest defense. That giant circular sphere, sand sphere he made, that dome. His Chidori completely pierced it when his punches couldn't even make a dent in it.
Yeah.
And it's just heavily implied that Sasuke with that Chidori, like, his AP just skyrockets. Same with his speed,
Yeah.
And with the second list, I can go into this much more in depth of why it just makes Sasuke hellishly strong. But do you have anything you want to add to this point?
Yeah, I was gonna say it kind of signifies how much of a threat Sasuke is, and besides Lee as well. Since in Lee's fight with Gaara doesn't use the ultimate defense spear, right? He doesn't use that technique against Lee. And use this technique against Sasuke, which, kind of signifies that, Sasuke is kind of a bigger threat for him to use this technique. And, Sasuke just being able to pierce through Gaara and make him bleed in general was just insane, which would put him top of the list. We also can go more into databook statements where it says Sasuke is Gaara's strongest opponent, which would also put him over Lee at his peak, while Sasuke's at his peak. I don't think they're talking about base to base or base compared to fifth gates. I think they're talking about Sharingan and Chidori compared to fifth gate Lee.
Yeah, no, because by that logic, you'd have to put Naruto above like fifth gate Lee.
Yeah, and that is ridiculous.
But yeah, no. So moving on to the to the next part of the list, the Konoha Crush part. Again, most of the rankings stay the same. Like, Temari and Shikamaru stay there. Neji, real quick, because we forgot to cover it in the Chunin exams one. There is a guidebook statement that Neji is like the strongest of the Genin. However, that's a little suspect because of the fact that Neji's feats and showings are just kind of bad.
Yeah.
So I just want to real quick touch on that and just explain how that statement could be referring to like maybe in the preliminaries. And if you want to say he's stronger than like Gaara and Sasuke, they just have better feats and better ways of dealing with Neji. Like, at best, Neji, like, But again, number 4 is actually Lee here.
Yeah, Lee
You
drops
know?
down.
Yeah, Lee drops down because everyone gets like crazy feats.
Uh-huh.
And number 3,
Is
Sasuke actually dropped
Sasuke.
down to
So he
number
dropped
3.
down from number 1 to number 3.
Yeah, do you want to go over why Sasuke kind of dropped and like why Sasuke is at number
So
3 here?
yeah, the power creep between Chunin exams and Konoha Crush is actually pretty crazy. Just due to the fact that Naruto just gains, well, abundance amount of feats, right? Because we can consider Konoha Crush a nerved and fatigued version of Naruto, since his chakra points were literally, or his chakra network was literally just shut down. So he would still be recovering from that, and he's still able to, react to Gaara, pummel him with his shadow clones, and even go as far as to, defeat him, of course. I mean, yes, he did have help, but again, a summoning jutsu against, like, let's say Sasuke would be a win con, basically.
Yeah.
And he also can reach into his QB chakra, so that is something he could do in Konoha Crush. So that's why we decided, in Konoha Crush, Naruto is over Sasuke. He takes the second place.
Yeah. Yeah. And just to briefly touch on Sasuke, since I said we would,
Yeah.
Sasuke is able to somewhat react to partially transform Gaara with his Sharingan, which is just infinitely better than what anything anyone has shown up till this point. Even Neji and Gaara don't have those same kind of feats because Neji and Gaara, what? Neji and Lee. Neji and Lee don't have those kind of feats, And so it's just like, also his Chidori was able to like hurt partially transform Gaara.
Yeah.
So that is like something that a lot of people should take note of, and why Chidori should be above like 5th gate. But yeah, as you said, Naruto has some crazy feats, and that's why he's at number 2. Naruto has some crazy feats. Like in the very first bit, when Sasuke's down and out and Gaara's charging him, Naruto's able to intercept Gaara. He just straight up had to intercept him and draw blood with a single kick. Literally. Meaning, you could actually argue Naruto's AP might be on the same level as Sasuke's like Sharingan Chidori.
Yeah.
That's how crazy it gets, And another thing, a lot of people don't realize this, but Naruto during his fight with like more partially transformed Gaara, we'll call him, when Gaara's like even more partially transformed, he's able to dodge in midair. Gaara goes to attack him. Naruto's charging towards him, flying towards him in midair. Naruto is able to make a shadow clone and jump over Gaara before Gaara can actually attack him. And that is a really insane feat, because Naruto's showing some level of relativity to a stronger Gaara than what Sasuke fought.
Yeah.
So Naruto scaling above Gaara here, while fatigued, is kind of insane.
It's pretty insane.
And then, obviously, at number 1, since we haven't mentioned him already, it's Gaara. Do you want to go just explain why Gaara just tops the list here above all else?
So why Gaara just tops the list, right, is because there's due to a few factors. Gaara's transformed state is still hard to deal with on a one-on-one, and it wasn't even fully transformed. Sasuke struggles, Naruto inevitably struggles too, and it leads him into using an entire summoning jutsu on Shikaku. In terms of without the summoning, Naruto would have been cooked, and it just goes into say that Sasuke couldn't handle him by himself, even with the curse mark, which would have amped him, and Naruto was struggling even with the summoning jutsu, which took his all to beat Gaara. So we still would think that Gaara is over Sasuke and Naruto in the Konoha Crush arc.
Yeah, and just to piggyback off that, if you remember correctly, Gaara ran the gauntlet. He fought Sasuke, and then he had to fight Naruto, then he had to fight Gamabunta, and then Naruto again, and only then lost.
Yeah.
So it's like, in individual 1v1s, Gaara's just beating everyone here.
Exactly.
It's like, crazy. Is there anything else you want to add?
No, not really. I feel like we went over everything in pretty good detail.
All right, wonderful.
All right. But yeah, there was the Chunin exams power rankings and the Konoha Crush power rankings. So you guys actually got another list that you could go off of too. So that's in both arcs, right? Had a really fun time collabing with Shadow. A really great time. You should go check his channel out too, because we will be doing another video on there, which it will be pretty interesting to get into as well, right? So Hope you guys go check that out whenever it's out, and I'll have his ad in the description. If you enjoyed this, like and subscribe to me, like and subscribe to Shadow. Leave your comments down if you disagree with our rankings, if you agree with them. I would like to hear it regardless. And until next time, peace.